الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وما ينطق عن الهوى إن هو إلا وحي يوحى وقال سبحانه وتعالى وإنك لعلى خلق عظيم صدق الله مولانا العلي العظيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما صلى الله على النبي الأمي وآله صلى الله عليه وسلم صلاة وسلاما عليك يا رسول الله اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت يا حي يا قيوم تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا اللهم يا كريم أكرمنا بنور الفهم وأخرجنا من ظلمات الوهم ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Inshallah Azza wa Jal today we shall commence with the 953rd hadith from Imam Muhammad ibn Ismail al-Bukhari rahimahullah Al-Adab Al-Mufrad. It is a long hadith but full of wisdom, full of barakah. So for attaining that barakah, inshallah Azza wa Jal, we'll read the matn, the text, inshallah Azza wa Jal, and inshallah then the translation. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. حدثنا علي بن عبد الله قال حدثنا المغيرة بن سلمة أبو هشام المخزومي وكان ثقة قال حدثنا الصائق بن حزن قال حدثني القاسم بن مطيب عن الحسن يعني البصري عن قيس بن عاصم السعدي قال أتيت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم فقال هذا سيد أهل الوبر فقلت يا رسول الله ما المال الذي ليس علي فيه تبعة من طالب ولا من ضيف فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم نعم المال 40 والكثرة 60 أو والأكثر 60 وويل لأصحاب المئين إلا من أعطى الكريمة ومنح الغزيرة ونحر السمين فأكل وأطعم القانع والمعتر قلت يا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ما أكرم هذه الأخلاق لا يحل بواد أنا فيه من كثرة نعمي فقال كيف تصنع بالعطية قلت أعطي البكر وأعطي الناب قال كيف تصنع في المنيحة قال إني لأمنح الناقة أو لأمنح المئة قال كيف تصنع في الطاروقة قال يغدو الناس بحبالهم ولا يوزع رجل من جمل يختطمه فيمسكه ما بدا له حتى يكون هو يرده فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم فمالك أحب إليك أم مال مواليك قال مالي قال فإنما لك من مالك ما أكلت فأفنيت وأعطيت فأمضيت وسائره لمواليك فقلت لا جرم لئن رجعت لأقلن عددها فلما حضره الموت جمع بنيه فقال يا بني أو يا بني خذوا عني فإنكم لن تأخذوا عن أحد وأنسع لكم مني لا تنوحوا علي فإن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لم ينح عليه أو لم ينح عليه وقد سمعت النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم ينهى عن النياحة وكفنوني في ثياب التي كنت أصلي فيها وسودوا أكابركم فإنكم إذا سودتم أكابركم لم يزل لأبيكم فيكم خليفة وإذا سودتم أصاغركم هان أكابركم على الناس وزهدوا فيكم وأصلحوا عيشكم فإن فيه غنى عن طلب الناس وإياكم والمسألة فإنها آخر كسب المرء وإذا دفنتموني فسووا علي قبري فإنه كان يكون شيء بيني وبين هذا الحي من بكر بن وائل خماشات فلا آمن سفيها أن يأتي أمرا يدخل عليكم عيبا في دينكم سبحان الله. Beautiful hadith. Worship Allah salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa barik wa salli alayhi. हज़रत क़ैस इब्न आसिम सादी रहमतुल्लाह ने बयान किया कि मैं नबी करीम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की खिदमत बाबरकत में हाजिर हुआ तो नबी करीम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने फरमाया कि ये खैमों में रहने वालों का सरदार है जो ऊँट के बालों से बनाए जाते हैं. So Sayyidina Qais ibn Asim, he was a what they call in Urdu Khana Badosh or Badia Nasheed, someone who used to live in a desert, a nomad, a Bedouin. When he came to the Prophet ﷺ, the Messenger ﷺ said, this person is the leader of the nomads, the desert Arabs, the Bedouins. तो मैंने अर्ज़ किया या रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम, माल की वो कितनी मिक़दार है कि जब वो माल मेरे पास हो उतनी मिक़दार में तो मुझ पर किसी तलब करने वाले को देने की या किसी मेहमान को खिलाने की जिम्मेदारी न हो. What is the extent, what is the threshold, what is the amount of wealth which if I have, I am not liable, I am not obliged to give to someone who requests it, and if I have it, I am not obliged to entertain a guest. Okay, what is that extent of wealth, which is a bare minimum? The bare minimum that I can have, and if I have that, I am not obliged by the sacred Islamic law to give it to someone who may demand from it. So the Prophet ﷺ said 40. 40 adad tak mal hona ye achhi baat hai. If we have wealth until 40, what does the sub-narrator say? They say we do not know what the Prophet ﷺ said. Did he say dinar or dirham? Most probably they say the Prophet ﷺ meant 40 dirhams, 40 silver coins, 40 darahim, which is enough, which is good. Again, the Prophet ﷺ was exhorting his companions to observe abstinence, zuhud. And one of the signs of you loving Allah and loving the Prophet ﷺ is that you have zuhud, yani you are content with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you. Contentment of the heart is the greatest type of richness. Being rich. We think being rich means that I have a bank balance and the total accumulated amount in my bank balance is in 6 figures. This is not ghina. Al-ghina ghina nafs. Richness is the richness of the soul. When you have a little but you are content, Allah puts barakah in it. And barakah, unfortunately, as we may deem it today, is not barakah yani from 1 you get to 10. Barakah means from that 1 you are able to acquire goods equivalent to 10. From that 1, be it £1 or whatever. This is what you call barakah. Barakah is in quality, not quantity. And as Imam Al-Qadiri rahimahullah mentions in Kitab Al-Shifa, alamatu hubbillah hubbul Quran, wa alamatu hubbil Quran hubbul Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, wa alamatu hubbil Nabi hubbu sunnati, wa alamatu hubbi sunnatihi hubbul akhirah, wa alamatu hubbil akhirati bughdul dunya, wa alamatu bughdul dunya az-zuhdu fiha. This is what he says, citing a reference from Imam Sahl ibn Abdullah at-Tusturi rahimahullah. He says, the sign that you love Allah is that you love the Quran. Reciting it, attaching yourself to it, clinging unto it, holding fast unto it, delving into its deep meanings, living your life according to the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the alama, the sign that you love the Quran is that you love the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Therefore, someone who loves the Quran but does not love the Prophet ﷺ, his love of the Quran is rendered void in the sight of Allah. Alamatu hubbil Quran, hubbul Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Hubbul Nabi and hubbul Quran go hand in hand. They are inseparable. And then he says the sign that you love the Prophet ﷺ is that you love his sunnah, you love his practices. You aspire to follow in his footsteps in every single step and walk of your life. And the love and the sign that you love his sunnah is that you love the akhirah more than you love this ephemeral world. And the sign that you love the akhirah is that you loathe and you detest and you hate this ephemeral world. And what is the sign that you hate and you loathe this ephemeral world? The sign is you adopt abstinence, zuhud. You are content. You make do with a little of it. You are content with whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you. This is the alama, which is in turn the sign that you love the akhirah, which is in turn the sign that you love the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which in turn is a sign that you love the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which in turn is a sign that you love the Quran, which is in turn the sign that you love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. 40 is a good thing. And then the Prophet ﷺ said 60 dirhams, that is a lot. As for those who have 100 and more, then woe to them, destruction to them. Allahu Akbar. Because obviously with wealth, with money, comes greed, comes pride and arrogance, comes conceitment, comes self-deceit, comes miserliness. All of these things. Yes, मगर जो अच्छा माल बख्शिश करे और खुद दूध वाला जानवर ज़रूरतमंदों को दे दे और फरबा जानवर ज़बह करे, खुद भी खाए और उन लोगों को भी खिलाए जो हाजतमंद हैं, भीख मांगने वाले हैं, जो साइल बन करके सामने आ जाते हैं, तो ये अच्छी बात है. As for those whose wealth surpasses 100, then woe unto them, destruction unto them, except for those who spend the most precious wealth to them. The most precious thing, لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. You shall not attain piety until you spend. You shall never attain piety until you spend in the way of Allah that which you love the most. For us, this is wealth, this is money. So the Prophet ﷺ said, except for these people who spend the most precious thing, the most valued thing to them in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and give a milk, lends a milk with abundant milk, lends an animal, with an abundant milk in it to the needy, to the poor, and sacrifices a corpulent, a meaty, fleshy animal in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, feeds himself, feeds the needy who come to him, the beggars, the masakin, the indigent and the poor. So then he says, ये तो बहुत अच्छे अखलाक है, लेकिन जिस वादी में मैं रहता हूँ वहाँ तो कोई अपने जानवरों को लाता ही नहीं है, क्योंकि मेरे मवेशी बहुत हैं और ये वादी बहुत छोटी है, तो मैं अपने मवेशी को कैसे ला सकता हूँ वहाँ पर. The valley in which I reside, none of the people bring their livestock there. They don't bring their cattle and the sheep there, because it is a very small area there. Is a very restricted area there. I have many cattle, I have much livestock, but I cannot fit them in that valley. The valley will not accommodate for them. तो नबी करीम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने फरमाया, जब किसी को तुम बख्शिश करते हो, हदिया देते हो, तो क्या देते हो? He said to this desert man, when you give someone a gift, what do you give them? So he said, I give them a young calf, एक बछड़ा देता हूँ. Then the Prophet ﷺ said, what about the animals with abundant milk? How do you gift them? What do you do about them? He said, at one time I would give 100 goats to people, just to milk the goats, just to get the milk from the goats, and they would return it back to me whenever, as and how they would want to, as and when they would want to return it back to me. I would give them the milk for free. 100 goats, subhanallah. That would probably feed the entire Bolton population. That's if you, it's okay. MashaAllah. Then the Prophet ﷺ inquired, what about the she-camel ready to be mated, yani hamal dene wale janwar, as it says in Urdu. So he says, we have she-camels ready to be mated, and then I allow anyone from the desert Arabs, any shepherd to come, and they bring their ropes that they use as halters to bring their male camels, and then they take the camels with them, and I allow them to keep the camels with them until it is they who return the camels back to me. And this was how generous of heart he was. This was how benevolent this desert Arab Sayyiduna Qais ibn Asim rahimahullah was. So then the Prophet asked him, तुम्हारा माल तुम्हें ज़्यादा महबूब है, पसंदीदा है, या तुम्हारे रिश्तेदारों का? तुम्हें अपना माल ज़्यादा पसंदीदा है या तुम्हारे रिश्तेदारों का? Do you love your own wealth, or do you love the wealth of your kith, of your kin, of your relatives? He said, मुझे तो अपना माल ही ज़्यादा महबूब है. I love my own wealth. फरमाए तो बस समझ लो, तुम्हारा माल सिर्फ वो है जो तुमने खा लिया और फना कर दिया, या किसी को दे दिया और सदका कर दिया. यही हकीकतन में तुम्हारा माल है. In reality, your wealth is that which you have consumed, which you have eaten, consumed, which you have gifted to someone. That is in essence your wealth. The other wealth that will remain, that will not be your wealth. You will not take hoards of wealth with you. You will not take the suitcase of money in your grave with you. That will be your next of kin. That will be for your next of kin. That will be for your relatives. That will be for your sons, for your daughters, for your family members. That is not your wealth. माल तुम्हारा वही है जिसको तुमने अल्लाह ताला की बारगाह में खर्च कर दिया है. वल्बाक़ियातुस्सालिहातु खैरुन इंद रब्बिका. Sahih? Baqiyatul Salihat, the remaining good things. What remains is the wealth that you spent in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It reminds me of the hadith of Sayyidatuna Aisha Siddiqa radiallahu ta'ala anha. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was given a gift of meat. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was in his blessed home, and the Prophet ﷺ said, "O Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, give this away in the way of Allah. Give this to the poor and the needy." So she gifted everything except for a piece of the meat that the Prophet ﷺ was fond of, probably the shoulder meat, and she kept it for the Prophet ﷺ. So the Prophet ﷺ returned back to his blessed home and said, "O Aisha, what have you done to the meat?" She said, "Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I have given it away except for one part of it." The Prophet ﷺ said, "What you have kept for yourself, is actually something that will be destroyed. But what you have given away, that is in reality the wealth of yours and the sadaqah of yours, which will remain, and the reward of which you will still continue to receive even whilst you pass, even after you die and you are in your grave, you will still continue to receive the reward of the sadaqah that you gave in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala." That meat that you kept behind, that's not the meat that you kept behind. What is actually kept behind is the sadaqah that you have given to the poor and the needy. Anyhow, so he then says, this is subhanallah, this is sahabi of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He then says, तो मैंने अर्ज की बस अब तो यही करूंगा कि वापस होकर अपने जानवरों की तादाद कम कर दूंगा, यानी जितने जानवरों की ज़रूरत है उतने ही मैं रखूंगा, बाकी जानवरों को मैं सदका कर दूंगा. Okay, I will only keep the animals that I am in need of. I will lessen the number of my cattle. The excess I will give in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the poor and to the needy. So what happened? जब उनके विसाल शरीफ का वक्त आया तो आपने अपने बेटों को जमा किया. When he was nearing death, when he was near his demise, he gathered his sons and he gave them nasihat, he gave them good counsel, and he said, "ए बेटो, मेरी नसीहत कबूल कर लो, मुझसे बढ़कर तुम्हारा कोई खैर का नहीं हो सकता. Accept my counsel, accept my advice. You will never find anyone giving you better advice than myself. I am your father. I know about the ups and downs of life. I know how to be successful in life. I have myself gone through this entire life, and I know through my experiences the things by which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will grant you success and things by which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala abase you." So then he said, "जब मैं मर जाऊं तो मुझ पर नोहा ना करना, यानी रोने धोने का सिलसिला जारी ना करना. Do not wail over me when I pass away, because when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam physically veiled himself from this world, he was not wailed upon. Okay, and he sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself forbid wailing. He had forbidden wailing. And then he says, मेरे उन्हीं कपड़ों में दफन करना जिनको मैं नमाज के वक्त पहन करके जो मैं कपड़े पहनता था, उन्हीं कपड़ों में मुझे दफन करना. और वो चूँकि उस ज़माने वो जिस इलाके में रहते थे तो उस ज़माने ऊपर चादर और नीचे लुंगी पहनते थे जिसे हुल्ला कहते थे, उसी हुल्ले में clothe me and shroud me in the clothes which I used to wear when I used to stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he says, अपने बड़ों को सरदार बनाना. अगर तुम बड़ों को सरदार बनाओगे तो तुम्हारे अंदर तुम्हारे बाप का कोई ना कोई खलीफा रहेगा. Make the eldest amongst your leaders. If you make the eldest amongst your leaders, then there shall continue to be a khalifa, a successor amongst you from the family of your father. There will continue to be the barakah of your father will remain amongst you, so as long as you appoint the eldest, i.e. the wisest amongst you as your leaders. And then he says, अगर छोटों को सरदार बना दोगे तो तुम्हारे बड़े जो हैं लोगों की नजरों में हकीर हो जाएंगे, गिर जाएंगे, और इस तरह से लोग तुमसे बेताल्लुक हो जाएंगे. If you make the youngest amongst you your leaders, then the eldest amongst you will become abased in the sight of other people, and because of this they will lose connections with you. They will sever their connections with you. They will not come to help you, because they will say, these young people, how can we help them? We don't need to help them, because people of age have dignity. So people of age, when they are made leaders, it attracts other people to help them and support them. And then he says, और अपनी रोजी को सोच समझकर दुरुस्त रखो. He says, have a good livelihood, have a good means of livelihood, and put it straight, put it in order. Spend it wisely. जो शख्स अपनी रोज़ी को इंतज़ाम से खर्च करता है उसे लोगों से भीख मांगने की ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ती. The one who sets his livelihood right and puts it in order and spends wisely and moderately. وَالَّذِينَ إِذَا أَنفَقُوا لَمْ يُسْرِفُوا وَلَمْ يَقْتُرُوا وَكَانَ بَيْنَ ذَلِكَ قَوَامًا. For those who spend, when they spend, they are not miserly, but they do not spend extravagantly, but they adopt the middle route. Subhanallah. This is what the Quran says. What will happen? By virtue of that, it will protect you, it will save you from the need to ask people. You will not be begging in front of a people, please give me some money, please give me money. If you spend wisely and moderately, inshallah, you will have money in order to spend on yourself, in order to invest in future investments. And then he says, लोगों से सवाल करने से बचना. Beware of begging from people. Beware of asking and begging from people. क्योंकि सवाल करना इंसान का सबसे आखिरी कमाई का जरिया होता है. Because asking and begging from someone, that is the last resort. That is the last option of a person acquiring wealth. And then he says, जब तुम मुझे दफन कर दो तो मेरी कब्र को बराबर कर देना जो सुन्नत से ज़्यादा उठी हुई ना हो और मशहूर भी ना करना. You know, when you lay me to rest, do not make my grave exceedingly high, as the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, like a hump of a camel. Unfortunately, those who call themselves the carriers of the banner of the sunnah, they have i'adhan billah raised the blessed mazarat and the mausoleums of the Sahaba, the Ahlul Bayt, the family of the Prophet ﷺ to the ground, leveled it to the ground. You don't even know if it's a grave or not. In Jannatul Baqi Sharif and Jannatul Ma'ala. And actually the ulama have mentioned the newly built paths in the cemetery. In the cemeteries of Jannatul Baqi and Jannatul Ma'ala, many graves are underneath it. So perhaps you're walking on a grave of a Sahabi or the Ahlul Bayt of the Prophet ﷺ, or a great wali of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in Jannatul Baqi and Jannatul Ma'ala. This is why you should give salam from the outside. Unfortunately, this is what they've done. The sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ says, musannaman, keep it like a hump of a camel so people know that this is a grave. Okay? But he said, do not keep it exceedingly higher than what the sunnah has mentioned. Because मेरे और कबीले बकर इब्न वाइल के दरमियान कुछ झड़पें रही है, कुछ मुखालफत, कुछ इख्तिलाफ हुआ है, तो मुझे इत्मीनान नहीं कि उनमें से कोई बेवकूफ़ ऐसा काम गुजरे जो तुम्हारे दीन में कोई ऐब की बात दाखिल कर दे. He says, between me and this tribe there was a kind of discord and some harsh feelings between them. I am not at ease lest some foolish man from amongst them comes and does something which might bring about disgrace and fitan in your deen. What the sub-narrator, what the ulama mentioned is perhaps he may exhume the blessed body from the grave, which would then cause tribal feud and fitan in the deen. So this is what he mentioned, radiallahu. So there was great nasiha in this. And then the Imam Al-Bukhari rahimahullah mentions about the sanad of this hadith. I'm going to skip that inshallah. Continue with the next hadith inshallah. Final hadith inshallah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. باب تحريك الرأس وعض الشفتين عند التعجب. This is another topic here. تعجب के वक्त जब किसी ताजुब खेज बात आप सुने या देखें तो उस वक्त सर का हिलाना और होठों को दांतों से पकड़ना. To bite the lip with the teeth and to shake the head when you are surprised, when you are taken aback, when you are in shock. So to move the head and to bite the lip when surprised. It's the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Let's listen to this hadith inshallah. 954th hadith. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. حدثنا موسى قال حدثنا وهيب قال حدثنا أيوب عن أبي العالية قال سألت عبد الله ابن الصامت قال سألت خليل أبا ذر رضي الله تعالى عنه فقال أتيت النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم بوضوء فتحرك رأسه وعض على شفتيه قلت بأبي أنت وأمي أهذيتك؟ قال لا ولكنك تدرك أمراء أو أئمة يؤخرون الصلاة لوقتها. قلت فما تأمرني؟ قال صل الصلاة لوقتها فإن أدركت معهم فصله ولا تقولن صليت فلا أصلي. हज़रत अबू ज़र ग़िफ़ारी रज़ियल्लाहु अन्हु बयान फरमाते हैं कि मैं नबी करीम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के पास वज़ू का पानी लेकर के आया, आपकी खिदमत बाबरकत में लेकर के आया. तो आपने अपना सर मुबारक हिलाया और अपने होठों को दांतों से दबाया. The Prophet pressed his lips under his blessed teeth when I brought wudu water for the Prophet to perform the ritual ablution. The Prophet was actually looking at the future, ilmul ghaib, as the Prophet was given. And at that moment when he brought the water to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was looking at what was going to happen to the ummah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how the leaders are going to be appointed, who are going to be the leaders of the ummah, what is going to happen to their prayers. तो मैंने अर्ज़ किया, मेरे माँ बाप आप पर कुर्बान हो, क्या मैंने आपको तकलीफ पहुंचाई? और या रसूलुल्लाह, have I caused you any grief, any pain? May my parents be a ransom upon you? Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam, no, you have not caused any pain. I was just thinking about something, thinking about the future, ilmul ghaib that I've been given. लेकिन तुम ऐसे अमीरों या इमामों को पाओगे जो नमाज को उसके वक्त से मौखर कर देंगे. You will find leaders who will also be imams. Imam is also called a leader. But hukama, umara, who will also be a'imma. And this happened in the time of the Umayyads, the Banu Umayyah. They were appointed as leaders and they will delay the prayer from its mustahab time. Or they will actually delay the prayers from its prescribed time, make it qada. There will be leaders in the ummah of the Prophet ﷺ who will also class themselves as a'imma. They will not appoint imams as the people of knowledge. People of wisdom, people of taqwa will not be put on the prayer mat to lead the people in prayer. Those corrupt leaders will start leading the people in prayer too, and they will delay the prayers. So then I asked, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what do you command me to do? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if you pray the namaz in its prescribed time, और अगर उनके साथ भी नमाज को पालो तो उनके साथ भी पढ़ लेना, और ये हरगिज ना कहना कि मैंने तो नमाज पढ़ ली है इसलिए अब नहीं पढ़ूंगा. When you pray your namaz on time in its prescribed time, never delay the namaz from its prescribed time. And if you come to the masjid and you find these leaders leading the people in prayer, join the prayer with them. Don't say, I've already prayed so I'm not going to pray. This is again su'ul adab, in one sense that you say, I'm not going to pray. I'm not going to pray. This sentence has a bit of su'ul adab in it. The other thing is, the Prophet said this because it may cause fitan. The corrupt leaders might say, if you're not praying namaz, I'm going to put you behind bars. Okay, to avoid fitan, pray with them. But this again ruling applies in a time obviously where, apart from Salatul Fajr and Salatul Asr and Salatul Maghrib. After Salatul Fajr there is no nafil. If you've already prayed your namaz, your fard namaz, and there's a jamaat happening in the masjid or elsewhere, you're not allowed to join the prayer because there is no nafil allowed after Salatul Fajr. If you prayed your Salatul Asr at home or elsewhere in another jamaat and there's another jamaat happening, you cannot join a jamaat with an intention of praying a nafil, because you're not allowed to perform nafil after Salatul Asr. And in Maghrib, if you prayed your Salatul Maghrib separately and then Salatul Maghrib fard was happening with Jamaat, you cannot join the Jamaat because you can't have 3 rakats nafil. 3 rakats nafil do not exist. So this ruling is applicable to Salatul Dhuhr and Salatul Isha. If you've already prayed it fard, you can, and there's a Jamaat happening, you can join with the intention of it nafil. Allah Ta'ala Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam ki hadith ke faizan se hum sabko mala mal farmaye.